We back with This Is Not Your House. This my house. Roger always knew if he were attacked, it would happen on the walk from his car to his home. So he readied his house key before stepping out of the vehicle, keeping it ready as he walked to the trunk of his car. Okay, we kind of thick, bruh. He hangs his groceries from his wrists, keeping his fingers free to open the front door without fumbling. As Roger makes his way to the porch, his eyes start darting between the house's corners. He'd read about a young woman being ambushed in her driveway the week before. He tries to put it out of his mind by counting how many steps it takes him to reach the front door, but he can't stop listening for the sound of someone rushing towards him. There's a gentle breeze and the white noise of distant traffic. Roger assures himself he is right to remain vigilant. It only takes a split second for someone to get the drop on you. Steady with the key now, smooth as fast. Roger's key slides in on the first try. It won't turn. Roger removes his key and inspects it. It's engraved with a large H, definitely the correct key. Roger tries the key again. Locked, jammed, broken maybe? Roger takes a step away from the door and scans the area for suspicious persons. He sees no one. He releases his grasp on the key and leaves it in the lock. He drops his grocery bags on the porch. He tries furiously to turn, pull, and push the key and door handle every which way. Without success, Roger hears something inside. A shadow passes by the window. It looks like someone's silhouette through the curtain. Roger pounds on the door. Open up this instant. The police are en route. The door unlocks from the inside. Can I help you? You can start by getting out of my house. This house does not belong to you. Check the deed, lady. A deed is only a piece of paper. One that proves this house is my property. Personal property is a social construct. Those who inhabit a space own it. Which one should I do? Let her keep it? Keep the house. I'll take my car and head down to the station. Which car is that? The one I pulled up in. I didn't notice. The only one sitting in the driveway. But sir, that's my car. What in the hell? Roger turns just in time to see the car he calls his own reversing into the street. He sees the homeowner wave to him from the driver's seat and disappear down the road. Here, let me help you with that. Roger tries to run after his car, but the homeowner grabs hold of his shirt. She slips it off with one deft sweep. Roger spins around trying to grab hold of his button down. He feels goosebumps forming on his arms and as his nipples harden. Give me my shirt back. Give me my shirt back, you old bag. No need for these either. The homeowner grabs the hem of Roger's pants and yanks backward, knocking Roger flat on his back. The homeowner quickly slides off his pants and the remaining articles on his person. Roger lies dazed with his head pounding from the collision with the porch. He can hear the sounds of rustling fabric and crinkling plastic bags. Roger wraps his arms around his head and groans. Please, not my chicken. The homeowner gathers Roger's things, glides into the house, and slams the door shut. Roger pulls himself to his feet. He cups his genitals in his hands and tries to keep warm. He shakes from the cold. break down the door. Roger is a strong man, but not strong enough to break a door down with his bare feet. So instead, he takes a swing at the door's window. He feels something warm and slippery pour down his arm as he fumbles with the deadbolt. He manages to get a grip on the lock and slide it open. Roger opens the door and shuffles inside. He hears heavy footsteps from the floor above. The steps indicate the homeowner is headed for the stairs. Shit! Had she found his shotgun? Roger only had a moment to act. Roger wasn't sure he could make it to the kitchen and back before the homeowner reached him. He pressed himself against the corner wall at the bottom of the staircase, hoping to remain out of sight. The homeowner's heavy footfall makes it easy to follow her movement. Roger sees the barrel of his shotgun slide through the entryway. He grabs hold of it and rushes around the corner. The homeowner falls back on the stairs. Roger yanks the gun away from her with his good hand. The homeowner stares at Roger and tries to sit up. Roger brings the butt of the shotgun down on her face. He presses down, grinding and twisting it into her. Her smile peeks out at him from around the gun's stock. She reaches for the trigger. Roger pulls the gun away and brings it down on her face. He does it again and again and again, relentlessly fragmenting and distorting her features into a puddle. He was satisfied when he could no longer see her eyes. The police arrived shortly after that. A neighbor called 20 minutes earlier due to the sound of breaking glass. Roger's defense team could not adequately explain the circumstances leading to him viciously beating an unarmed woman to death in his home. A woman police were never able to identify due to the excessive facial and dental trauma, missing fingerprints, and a lack of documentation. The jury found Roger Cormack guilty of first-degree homicide. The prosecution convinced jurors that Roger had kidnapped the woman, and he killed her when she attempted to escape his home. Death row. You obtain new living quarters on death row for defending yourself. Roger now inhabits a cell on death row, awaiting lethal injection. How long was that? 7 minutes? We'll try to get a different ending. Take your house back. I have a rotisserie chicken cooling off out here. I'll be eating it in my dining room before it's room temperature. The homeowner attempts to shut the door on Roger. Roger swiftly jams his foot between the door and its frame. He presses his face into the gap his foot provides. I don't think you heard me. Roger shoulders the door wide open. The homeowner is knocked back into the kitchen. You forgot your chicken. I'll get it when you're gone. Ooh hoo 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 hoo. Be sure not to leave too often, Roger. I have a habit of roosting in untended spaces. Roger hears a car start up right outside. He looks out the window to see what's going on. The homeowner waves from the driver's seat of the car and disappears down the road. It can't be. Roger whirls around. The homeowner is no longer in his kitchen. He proceeds to clear the house room by room until he is sure she's gone. Roger spent the next few days gathering up every trace of the homeowner's presence and passed it on to the authorities. Doilies? Table runners? Oiled drape runners? Candles? It seemed like she lived there for years, leaving things in odd places only someone familiar with the space would. Took Roger an additional half day just to rearrange the furniture. Thankfully, she hadn't moved in her own. Then there was nothing left for Roger to do except his grocery shopping. He decided to have his groceries delivered by a boy from the neighborhood for a while. He didn't want to leave his house alone. He started to feel silly about it after a few weeks passed. So he placed a call to the station following up on the vehicle's disappearance. The police explained they were unable to locate his missing car and had no leads. Roger bought a junker to handle his errands around town. He didn't notice the walk from his car to his house anymore. The only thing that worried him is whether or not he could turn his key when he got home. A shadow passes by the window. Alright, we'll do one more. Wait her out or seek shelter or find help. Bro, we butt naked though. Roger was not one to bully others or be bullied himself. He stood resolutely on his porch like any respectable citizen would. He spent the first few hours hollering, "What do you mean hours? The cops aren't on their way?" Hollering and pounding on his own front door. As it grew late and cold, Roger began to lose feeling in his extremities. His pounding became limp and inconsistent, and his hollers turned to hoarse whispers. He became warm and a bit drowsy. Roger reasoned it was best to get some rest and resume his valiant opposition in the morning. Morning did not come for Roger. He sat on the porch, curled up, and nestled his head against the front door. It was the comfiest and the sleepiest Roger had ever been. Oops, how do I go back? The homeowners discovered Roger at dawn and called the police. Cause of death was determined to be hypothermia. He was tagged as John Doe and placed in a morgue to await cremation. You froze to death because he believed being right. Met some. Roger's final moments were warm and was not afraid. Alright, one more. Let her have the house. Find help. Driven by the belief he cannot resolve the house theft on his own, Roger runs off to find help. Running down the road, he spots a police cruiser. Roger begins wildly flailing his arms and calling out for the vehicle to stop. The cruiser comes to a halt, and an officer steps out from the passenger side. Roger sprints towards them, shouting, attempting to explain his situation. The officer enters a defensive stance and draws his weapon on Roger. Roger freezes in place, thrusting his hands into the air. "Don't move! Hands! Let me see those hands!" "They're up. I'm cooperating." Suspect is uncooperative. "I'm cooperating. What am I a suspect of?" "Turn around." "I said turn around right now." Roger complies. "Walk backward toward me." Roger walks backward toward the officer. "Not so fast." Roger stops in a lethal game of red light, green light. "Did I say stop?" Roger does not speak and he does not move. He does not want to alarm the officer. "Come on, hurry up." Roger very slowly walks backward toward the officer. "I said slowly, not slow motion. Pick up the pace." Roger does not hasten his pace. He is terrified of doing something that could be seen as threatening. That's it. The sound of the officer's thudding footsteps draws near to Roger. Roger hears cuffs being readied behind him. He feels the cold metal press against his wrists. The officer thrusts Roger's head on the hood of his car. Roger can feel the cuffs tightening further, cutting off circulation. "Please, officer, I'm cooperating." The officer yanks Roger off the hood and steers him with the chain of his cuffs. The metal digs into Roger's wrists as he fails to anticipate the officer's movements. The officer pushes Roger into the back seat and slams the door. The officer quickly climbs into the front seat and jumps on the radio with dispatch. Roger's naked body wriggles against the leather in the back seat as he attempts to sit up. The officer brings his fist down on the car's dash. "Keep it down back there." A few tears stream down Roger's face in the dark. The tears make him feel ashamed, but he cannot suppress how angry and helpless he feels. "Please, someone has broken into my house. Look, we're passing by it right now. Just pull over." The old "someone stole my house" routine. Save it for the judge, junkie. "I'm not a junkie. I am a senior citizen and I need help." "You don't see many elderly junkies, huh?" "What are you talking about?" The officers sit in total silence as they cruise toward the station. Roger sits back and tries not to exacerbate the situation further. "So you're telling us that you went out shopping and returned home to find your locks were changed?" "That's right. Then I started pounding on the door, and some strange woman answered. Strange? How? What do you mean? She stole my house. Right. But what is it that made her strange to you? How calm she was about it all, acting like I was a perfect stranger and she belonged there. The officers glanced at one another. So you found your locks changed and a strangely calm and comfortable woman at the door. Yes, but she was in my car as well. So she left your house? No, she was in the house, and I turned around and saw her driving away in my car at the same time. A pair of twins, maybe? They were her, in the car and the house all at once. So what happened to your clothes? She took them, right there on the porch. When I turned to see the car taking off, she slipped my shirt off, without you even asking. The officers snicker as they share a look. It's not funny, I was assaulted. Sir, if a woman came up to me with a smile and asked for my clothes, I wouldn't report her. All right, sir, how much have you had to drink this evening? Not a drop. So you're telling me you tried to get into someone else's house in a confused state, thought you saw two of the same person and wandered the street naked, but you haven't had anything to drink? That's not what I said. That isn't how it happened. You've already given your statement. All I need to know is how much you were drinking. I was not drinking, it's true. What I said, every word of it. But a note that the subject is not cooperating, and we haven't been able to positively identify him. My name is Roger Cormack. I've already told you that. Sir, you'll be transferred to a new facility in the morning. You can explain the situation to them. What kind of facility? The kind that has resources necessary to help someone like you. Oh, dear God. Roger spent the remainder of his life being shuttled between state mental institutions. None were able to properly identify what ailed him. Without a diagnosis and treatment plan in place, they were unable to release him. He raved about the woman who stole his house and his car. The staff learned to tune out his ravings as they did with all the other patients, content to consider his ramblings those of a madman. Unspecific forced wellness, unspecific nonsense that you can hear pressing your ear at any patient's cell door. Bro, I want one ending at least where she gets. With no immediate means of retaking his house, Roger thinks it best to find somewhere to rest. He takes off into the woods in search of shelter from the elements. Roger finds a grove just before dark. At its center stands an immense hollow tree. Roger crawls inside and huddles against its back for warmth. It protects him from the biting wind outside. As he settles into a comfortable position, his breathing slows and he drifts off to sleep. He wakes up the next morning to terrible hunger pangs. He crawls out of the tree and onto the dewy forest floor. He scrounges around looking for food. He happens upon a large growth of mushrooms. They're safe. Roger consumes the mushroom with a desperate ferocity. They have a bitter taste, but Roger's hunger allows him to chew through it. As his belly fills with the mushrooms, he starts to feel ill. His head begins to spin. His manner of thought shifts and becomes fluid. Roger sees the world around him as a first of him, as a part of him, or he as a part of it, a very small part, a mote. The homeowner was right, in part. Personal property is a construct, but habitation is not means of ownership. He did not own the immense tree anymore after sleeping in it than he did before knowing of it. The mote merely landed on the tree. In the morning it came upon some mushrooms and began thinking of the world before itself. It surrendered itself to the soil, to the cool damp, to the network, forsaking hunger, forsaking words like Roger and returning home. That was This Is Not Your House. I don't know if there's any endings where we get the house back successfully and she goes to jail, but I didn't find any, so like, sub, see y'all in the next one.